You're 17 years old. Yesterday, you graduated high school. Today, armed soldiers arrive at your door with conscription papers. You have no choice. 7 to 8 years of your life just vanished. Welcome to North Korea, where adolescence ends and military servitude begins, whether you want it or not. Meet Park Jung, who's about to discover why older soldiers mockingly call boot camp the crybaby army. His health was secretly assessed twice already at ages 15 and 16 by the local military mobilization committee. They checked his family records for any hint of rebellion or dissent. He passed. Or failed, depending on perspective. North Korean law mandates that all able-bodied citizens of acceptable birth who finished high school must serve in the armed forces. Conscription can be avoided if you're sick, an only child of dependent family, or continuing higher education. Before the 1990s famine, military service meant prestige and stable food. Now, people go to extreme lengths avoiding the draft because working elsewhere pays more. Many fake illness or bribe MMC officials, typically costing a couple months' wages, roughly $100. If caught evading conscription, you face up to 1 year detention in a labor camp. Park comes from working-class background and he's physically fit. So, like other boys in his class, he's enrolled in the Korean People's Army for his mandatory 7 to 8 year stint. Girls in his class face 5-year terms based on 2021 information. North Korea's military is the world's 4th largest, with estimated 1.3 million active personnel, 600,000 reservists, and up to 5.7 million worker peasant Red Guards paramilitary militia members. These numbers make North Korea one of Earth's most heavily militarized nations, unsurprising given their defense-first policy. But being heavily militarized doesn't mean being well-equipped or well-fed. Park is about to learn that distinction brutally. Boot camp lasts 3 months of harsh conditions, strict discipline, intensive training. Park learns weapons use, including target practice, endures long marches carrying heavy gear, trains in martial arts. Throughout everything comes constant indoctrination that continues his entire service. Sacrifice for the nation and leadership gets drilled relentlessly. Self-sacrifice for North Korea's betterment is emphasized above everything, including personal survival. In some ways, Park's life actually improved slightly since joining. North Korea suffers chronic food shortages for decades. Even today, poorer society members regularly go hungry, missing meals frequently. Boot camp provides 3 meals daily. In theory, for lower-class backgrounds, military service may be the best way to fill bellies. After boot camp, Park receives his ID and makes his oath of allegiance. He's assigned to Korean People's Ground Force, the largest branch. Park is issued his weapon, the Type 88 assault rifle. This weapon is part of the Kalashnikov firearms line, specifically the North Korean variant of the AK-74, chambered in 5.45 by 39mm. The Type 88 comes in several variants with different stock configurations. Other weapons still used include the Type 68 AKM copy, Type 58 AK-47 clone, plus non-AK weapons like the SKS, PP-Shesh 41, and RPG-7, or North Korean and Chinese copies of Soviet weapons. Park receives his uniform designed for Korean Peninsula's temperate climate. The pattern resembles South Korean woodland uniforms based on M81 woodland pattern used by the United States from 1981 until mid-2000s. It was so similar that South Koreans updated their uniforms to digital patterns, avoiding confusion. But uniforms and weapons can't hide the brutal reality Park faces daily. North Korea spends about 1/4 of gross domestic product on defense spending. Sounds impressive until you realize North Korea's economy is so sluggish, this translates to only $7 to $11 billion annually. Compare that to South Korea's $48 billion yearly or America's $1 trillion. Because of resource lack, most North Korean equipment is aging and poor condition. Much stockpile is outdated and disrepair, mostly Soviet or Chinese origin. Reports suggest North Korea still employs Soviet T-34 tanks used during World War II. Imagine going to war in 80-year-old equipment. Like most North Korean military, Park is stationed south near the DMZ, separating North from South Korea, easily the world's most heavily defended and monitored border. He and his unit stand ready to either defend against South Korea and American allies or sweep over the DMZ, uniting the Korean peninsula under single banner. A typical day starts waking at 5:40 a.m., running in push-ups until 6:10 a.m. Quick soapy wash in nearby river. Breakfast at 6:40 a.m. with small portions of corn, vegetables, cereal, or rice. Then roll call, more training, shooting exercises, lunch, weapon cleaning, more training, until finally resting at 5:40 p.m. After dinner, soldiers can play sports, card games, smoke, laundry happens weekly, evening roll call at 8 p.m., sleep at 9 p.m. During May, June, October, November, soldiers work farms or construction. Though comparatively well-fed versus much of the country, they may not receive their supposed 3 daily meals. Discipline is harsh. Even slight infractions result in severe punishments. Recently, 2 soldiers faced harsh disciplinary action simply for referring to South Korea by alternative name, implying South Korean government legitimacy. Others, attempting escape, faced up to 5 years imprisonment with hard labor, regular beatings, limited sleep and medical attention, inadequate food. North Korea has the 3-generation rule. Any crime committed carries through 3 generations of family. Even if Park escapes, his family faces consequences for his actions, something he won't allow. Resigned, Park accepts his fate and continues hard labor, poor food, strict treatment, just one soldier among many serving the Hermit Kingdom. But across the border, military life looks drastically different. Meet Zhang Wei, 19-year-old volunteer in the People's Liberation Army Ground Force. After graduating high school, Zhang chose serving his country through the PLA due to family having little chance furthering education, patriotism instilled throughout life, and youthful desire for adventure. According to Chinese law, government can conscript any physically able citizen if needed. In practice, China fills ranks with levy system, meaning the PLA sets yearly quota for each province. If they get enough volunteers, great. If not, conscription begins. Because China's titanic population of approximately 1.5 billion people, there's no volunteer shortage. Conscription hasn't been used since 1949. Recruits must be aged 18 to 22 years old and high school graduates. Upper limit for college graduates increases to 24. Master's degree holders can enlist up to 26. As modern battlefields become more technical and tactical, those with advanced degrees are in high demand for special skills. Zhang is one of 2 million strong PLA, the world's largest military supported by People's Armed Police, paramilitary force, including Coast Guard plus part-time militia force. Its budget is harder determining. Official reports claim Chinese government spent around $250 billion on military in 2025, a 7.2% increase over 2024. Unofficially, Western intelligence agencies and think tanks don't believe this figure. Their estimates range between $474 billion and $700 billion. These are estimates based on secondhand information from sources having adversarial relationships with China. So take with salt. It's widely accepted. China's defense spending is world's second behind United States. The Chinese military divides into several branches, collectively called People's Liberation Army. Ground force is largest, consisting of infantry, artillery, tanks, other land-based forces. PLA Navy is the Navy. PLA Air Force is the Air Force. No surprises. PLA Rocket Force, also called 2nd Artillery Force, oversees China's nuclear arsenal and other long-range rockets and strategic missiles. Strategic Support Force handles cyber, electronic, psychological operations. Joint Logistics Support Force handles logistics. The PLA underwent ground force downsizing but still takes new recruits where Zhang was sent. He underwent 3 months basic training, turning him from civilian to soldier. Here, it was instilled he's not just joining military, but the armed wing of Communist Party of China. China's leader Xi Jinping openly states military must never lose sight that following party command is core duty. To maintain ideological uniformity, units have dual command systems. Besides unit commander, there's political commissar overseeing training and education. They also oversee discipline and welfare during service terms. When Zhang graduates basic training, he's accustomed to two-tier command structure, one military and one political. Discipline is strict. Not everyone's cut out for soldier life. Those quitting before their 2-year term face harsh penalties. Recently, one recruit couldn't handle military reality and washed out. As a result, he was slapped with thousands of dollars in fines, banned from traveling abroad for 2 years, unable to fly domestically or use long-distance trains, banned from enrolling in college, opening business, and permanently barred from government work for life. Zhang has no quitting plans, but such tales keep any quitting thoughts from growing. Zhang was sent to Ground Force, largest branch, though it underwent recent downsizing. Though smaller, it's still modernizing. As infantryman, Zhang was issued new rifles suited for modern battlefields. This is the QBZ-191, replacing the QBZ-95 unveiled at Military Parade in 2019. Chambered in 5.8 by 42mm, the rifle comes in 3 subvariants: Standard Rifle, QZB-192 short-barreled carbine version, and QBU-191 with lengthened barrel for designated marksman with select fire lever providing limited squad-level fire support. As infantryman, Zhang participated in many training exercises with other service arms, especially artillery and tanks. He and his unit are familiar with Type 99A main battle tank and older but serviceable Type 96. Rumors exist of another tank possibly joining them called either TZT-201 or TZT-20. Very little reliable information available, though it apparently possesses hybrid diesel and electric power plant generating 1,500 horsepower. The tank is light, weighing roughly half an M1 Abrams. This may reflect Chinese military doctrine shift, emphasizing flexibility over raw power. This is speculative, and the new tank might just be prototype. Even with new gear, soldier life, like Zhang's, isn't much different from other militaries worldwide. His time, like soldiers, sailors, airmen globally, consists of assigned tasks, training, fitting strict routines, though Zhang and comrades do so under watchful commissar eye. And of course, eating. Like American counterparts, MREs come in plastic pouches with chemical heating agents, warming meals without flame in about 15 minutes. Meals include curry, chicken and fried rice, red braised pork, spiced yak jerky. These come with energy bars, biscuits, chocolate. Their taste? It's army, not Michelin-starred restaurant. It's not just food, but how it's eaten. Using the maxim that eating is timed battle, PLA soldiers are encouraged finishing meals quickly as possible. Some interviewed soldiers polish off meals under 5 minutes, at least one claiming under 3. Zhang once timed himself finishing MRE packet in 6.5 minutes. Not bad. No specific regulation exists about eating speed, but speed is encouraged. In warfare, time is essence. When soldiers eat quickly, they move to other important tasks, hopefully translating to more effective fighting force. What are they preparing for? Last time China fought full-scale war was brief month-long conflict, late 1970s against Vietnam, which was disaster, though Vietnam has track record embarrassing larger world powers. Since then, they've largely remained out of conflicts aside from border skirmishes. 21st century, they've become more active globally, sending infantry battalion to South Sudan for peacekeeping in 2015, providing humanitarian aid to Libya in 2011, and Navy engaging in anti-piracy campaigns along Horn of Africa. So far, Zhang hasn't deployed abroad, but it's always in back of his mind doing his duty. Already 1 year in, Zhang is halfway done with service. He's wrestling with staying on. If he does, he'll be fast-tracked to becoming NCO. Or he could leave. Military duty done. No more strict routine. No more commissars. Living his own life. It's a decision he'll ultimately make. But contrast Zhang's options with Park Jung's reality. Zhang chose military service voluntarily for 2 years with career advancement potential. Park Jung was forcibly conscripted for 7 to 8 years with no choices, inadequate food, aging equipment, harsh punishment for minor infractions. Subscribe because we compare military systems worldwide, revealing stark differences between authoritarian regimes and modernizing powers. Comment which country's military daily lives you want compared next. Russian versus American soldiers? Israeli versus Iranian forces? Indian versus Pakistani troops? South Korean versus Japanese defense forces? Let me know. The contrast between North Korean and Chinese soldiers reveals how military service reflects broader national priorities. North Korea pours 1/4 of GDP into military, while citizens starve, using conscription to maintain massive force equipped with aging Soviet-era weapons. Discipline is brutal. Punishment extends through 3 generations. Soldiers serve 7 to 8 years, with no choice, minimal food, outdated equipment. Meanwhile, China fills its ranks with volunteers serving 2-year terms, receives modern weapons, has career advancement opportunities, and can choose whether continuing service. Park Jung wakes in freezing barracks, washes in rivers, eats minimal rations, faces years more service with 0 options. Zhang Wei trains with modern equipment, eats MREs in minutes, contemplates NCO track or civilian life after 2 years. Both serve authoritarian governments. Both face strict discipline and political indoctrination, but only one had any choice about it. Only one has equipment from this century. Only one can leave after 2 years. The difference between forced servitude and voluntary service, between hermit kingdom and rising power, between desperation and opportunity. See you next time when we examine more military systems that shape and sometimes destroy the lives of those serving in them.